What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be doing a quick versus video between the Beretta 92X Performance and the CZ Shadow 2. Now, up front, I want to mention the CZ Shadow 2 in this video is not stock because neither of my Shadow 2s are stock anymore. Both of them have slide milling and optics mounts from various companies. This one is from Primary Machine, and it is currently running the SRO because it is a carry optics gun, because carry optics are where the cool kids are these days. Both of these guns are excellent pistols for the money, and they're excellent pistols for competition, but during this video, we're going to kind of dig in a little bit and see which one might be right for you. Before we do that, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. Because of you guys, the channel's still here. So if you want to be a part of the Patreon community, all you got to do is go down to the description of this video and click the link. I also want to mention my Instagram. Instagram is Honest Outlaw Reviews on Instagram. If you use Instagram and you don't follow me over there, go ahead and go over there and follow me. It'll be worth your while. And finally, in the description, along with the Patreon link, is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa that I like to support. It's a youth shelter, and times being is what they are. Those kids could use your support more than ever, so I'd really appreciate it if you would go down there and click that link and donate to those kids. They're very similar guns with very similar action. The Beretta 92 is a double single action 9mm pistol. The performance version has a steel frame with a steel slide. The CZ Shadow 2, double action, single action 9mm pistol, and steel frame, steel slide. So overall, the controls are in a very similar place as well. Frame mounted safety on this, frame mounted safety on the Shadow. Extended magazine release, extended magazine release. Built-in magwell, built-in magwell. G10 grips, G10 grips, texturing, texturing. Now the checkering on the Shadow 2 is a little bit better, but we'll get into that in a minute. The Picatinny rail, in my opinion, is a full pick rail on the Beretta 92X Performance, is a little bit better than the Shadow 2. However, the Shadow 2 does have a little bit more weight out front. Let's first get into the specs, and then after that, we'll get into how they perform. So the Beretta 92X Performance is a 4.9-inch barrel. It is, again, chambered in 9mm, and it does have a little bit different operating mechanism than the Shadow 2, which is a standard Browning tilting barrel system. The Beretta 92 does have an exposed barrel on top of it, which leads to less reciprocating mass than a standard pistol that it would have with this high of a slide, which is good. It speeds up the cycle rate, and this 92X Performance is sped up a little bit more. It's got the Brigadier slide on it, which is a little bit heavier, and it's got a little bit of texture on it. However, it's running a much heavier steel frame than a traditional M9 or 92, and the whole pistol is running about 48-49 ounces. Again, double single action. If you're going to run this in production or carry optics, you're going to need to start with the double action first, and then it's going to fire the first round, cycle the slide, and push back the hammer, and then you're going to be able to use that awesome single action trigger. Single action trigger on the Beretta 92 is phenomenal. It really is. On the 92X Performance is one of the better triggers I've ever tried. Definitely on par with the CZ. I'll show you here really quick. You can see there's a little bit of take-up, which is not a big deal. People talk about take-up like it's a bad thing. Take-up is a good thing. The reset being long is a bad thing. So a little bit of take-up there, and a very clean, crisp break. And you can see the reset is not very long, especially compared to a standard Beretta pistol, and then you can pile those double taps off as quick as you like. This is the trigger on my Shadow 2. So my Shadow 2 double action pull, I think, is a little bit better, although I'm slightly biased. I have thousands and thousands of rounds through not just this pistol, but many other Shadow 2s. So I like this trigger, and I'm very comfortable with it. However, I think most people would agree that the double action trigger is a little bit better. Now we'll get into the single action. That's the reset on the Shadow. As you can see, it is noticeably shorter. And what a shorter reset leads to is faster double taps. You can see again, one more time, bang, very, very short. Now we'll just go to the standard single action trigger. I would say, personally, the Shadow 2 trigger is better. However, that could be a little bit of personal bias as well. As far as features go on the gun, very similar features come out of the box. Again, this is a custom Shadow 2, so you're gonna have to deal with that a little bit. I did add the grip tape, and it does have a milled slide with an Armor or SRO cut on the top of it. So other than that, though, the standard Shadow 2 comes with a very similar sighting setup as the Beretta. So not only do they have a very similar trigger, very similar caliber and frame and everything else, but they also have very similar sights. However, I would give a slight edge to the Shadow 2 sights. They do have the corners cut off, giving it more of a triangular shape, which in my personal opinion does lead to better follow-up shots. And I would show you, however, my old Shadow 2 slide is also gone currently, getting milled as well. So you're going to have to deal with that. However, this is sort of what the setup looks like with the SRO, which I'm a big fan of. Now, the nice thing about the Shadow 2 is it's one of the lowest recoiling pistols on the market, and there's a good reason for that. Not only is it around 44, 46 ounces out of the shop, but it also has a very low mass slide to begin with, even before I milled it, and it does also have internal slide rails leading to a lower mass on the slide overall. So lower reciprocating mass and all of the weight being in the frame already on top of this gigantic dust cover here leads to a very, very fast pistol. Add that to that unbelievably short resetting trigger, and you're going to have one of the fastest pistols ever made. And that is the main reason why the Shadow 2 is so unbelievably popular in competition sports. The Beretta, I would say, is coming close to that. Not only does it cycle almost as fast, the slide is fairly light, having that cut out to begin with, but on top of that, they've added a ton of weight as well. So this is running about 48 ounces, this is running about 44. So very similar in weight, with this actually being a little bit heavier. I could not control the Beretta quite as well because the grip is not quite as long, so it's a little bit more of a lever for me towards the front, and honestly, I like to really wedge down and lock my wrist out. A lot of people don't use their pinky finger a lot in recoil control. I like to use all the fingers that I have on the gun. So it being too short for me to actually get a firm grip on it there led to a little bit of an issue in recoil control. Not much, but a little bit in comparison to the Shadow 2. The Shadow 2 also has significantly better texturing. As you can see there, you've got the texture on the G10 grip, which is fine, and you've got a decent amount of texture up here. The Shadow 2 comes with 25 lines per inch checkering all the way around and on the rear mainspring as well. And on top of that, I've added these lock grips that have my name on them, which I think is pretty cool. And overall, the grip on the Shadow 2, at least for me, feels significantly better, and you can get significantly higher up on the gun and really control that recoil. Now, one downside to the Shadow is it doesn't have the takedown lever right here like the Beretta does. So the Beretta comes with an included gas pedal, which is legal to run, and that's pretty cool. Over here, I've got the grip tape to kind of supplement that. However, that is going to be a con on the Shadow 2. As far as accuracy goes, oh man, I would say that's a wash in my personal opinion. Between the two of them, it's really whichever one you can shoot better. Both have amazing triggers, both have amazing sights. However, if you want to get the most accurate version of these guns, you're going to have to get the optics-ready version of the Shadow 2. There is an optics-ready version of the Shadow 2, and there is not an optics-ready version of the Beretta 92X out of the factory. There's also plenty of shops that will mill down your Shadow 2. Like this one, for example, not only did I add the optic, but I decreased the weight of the slide, keeping the weight the same. So the amount that they took out of the slide is the same amount that you would add with an optic. I think it's actually even 1 or 2 ounces less. So we sped up the slide even a little bit more on top of the fact that you have an optic. And make no mistake, I don't know if you guys have tried optics, but as far as accuracy, especially at distance or pinpoint bullseye shooting, there is nothing better than a dot. But the Langdon Tactical version of the Beretta 92 just recently came out with an optics mount, so I believe you might be able to send this to him and get it milled. However, I'm not sure on that because he did talk about an entire redesign of the internal parts, and that might really screw up the brand new trigger and brand new safety mechanism that's on the 92X Performance. So maybe you can do it, maybe you can't. You'll just have to get a hold of those guys and ask. So as far as accuracy and speed goes, I'm going to have to give slight edge to the Shadow 2. As far as reliability goes, I'm going to have to make that a wash as well. Honestly, overall, both of these pistols have a history of being extremely reliable, and the Shadow 2 has a history of being extremely reliable for me personally, and so does the Beretta 92X Performance. The 92X Performance, I did 1,000 rounds of ammunition with of various types. This particular Shadow 2, I think, has 5,000 or 6,000 rounds of ammo through it. Various types already as well, and my other Shadow 2 is something like 10, and very, very few malfunctions, and obviously 0 malfunctions on this side, making them both unbelievably reliable. Another advantage to the Shadow 2, in my personal opinion, is going to be magazine capacity. The Beretta 92X comes out of the box for $1,100 with 2 15-round magazines. That's unacceptable for me. They should have been 18-round magazines or 20-round magazines. The Shadow 2 comes out of the box with 18-round magazines, and it's super easy to throw a Terran Tactical base plate on there and increase that bad boy up to 23, 24 with one in the pipe. That's so much more than a 15-round magazine can offer you. So overall, I think that they should have, not only just for that reason, but for the palming of the mag reason as well. As you can see that this is one of the old Shadow magazines, and this even still has a better base plate to grab a hold of your magazine out of your mag pouch, and it makes your reloads faster. So overall, if you can't run over 10 rounds in production, you'll say that 15 doesn't matter until you start trying to grab these base plates and you can't get a hold of one. Extended base plates don't just add capacity, but they do help getting that firm grip and getting that perfect reload every single time, and in production class, that's more important than ever. They're similar in function, they're similar in reliability, they're similar in accuracy, and they're similar in price. As far as accessories go, guess what? They're similar too. The Beretta 92 and the CZ75 are some of the most popular guns ever made on the planet. So any accessory that you could ever want for either platform, no problems there. I would say that the advantage to the safety would have gone to the Shadow 2 originally compared to the original M9. However, the 92 has added that as well. The frame-mounted safety is a big advantage, in my opinion, on the 92X Performance. So overall, if I had to pick one of these pistols, I think you know which one I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the one I currently love already. However, if you're an M9 guy, you're not missing anything. The 92X Performance is similar in price, similar in quality, similar in accuracy, similar in reliability. Overall, very similar guns, although I feel like the slight edge in capacity and grip size goes to the Shadow 2. Other than that, man, pick which one really floats your boat. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later. Pretty good.
That didn't suck.